Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com. So welcome aboard. If this is your first time viewing the stream, let me point out it is very, very casual. Just hanging around talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news and taking a peek at said tabletop games. So tonight is Wednesday, September 29th, 2021. This is live stream number 697 of the Dispatch. So as I mentioned, it's super casual. Just hang out, kick your feet up, relax. We're not doing, rocket surgery here by any stretch. Just hanging out, having a good time. Do want to mention, though, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live right here on YouTube, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review of Doors to Darkness for Call of Cthulhu from Chaosium Inc. Just in time for Halloween. Got some Call of Cthulhu reviews out there. So, very cool. Also, do want to mention that when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel here on YouTube, you should make your way over to thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So also want to point out, tonight we are going to be taking a first look at Scarlet Citadel for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from Kobold Press. And stay tuned, because you're going to have an opportunity to get in the running to win not only Scarlet Citadel in PDF, but also the Creature Codec in PDF as well. Or is it Codex? I think it's Codex. Courtesy of Kobold Press and Kobold Press's very own Wolfgang Bauer. So very nice, very cool. So hang out. All right, finally, do want to also point out that this is a live stream. So that means that there's chat available. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, please chime in. I will do my best to respond. It's not on screen. I do want to point that out. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I try to pay attention to chat. So feel free, chime on in. So far, Clint Gibson was first out the gate saying howdy today. Hunter Perkins is with us. Kabuki Kid is with us as well. Double K's in the house. John Vogel, as well as Nicholas Stanishek. And Boris has joined us also. So we've got chat off and running very nicely already. Do want to point out, if you want to partake in chat, you must be a subscriber to the channel and have been a subscriber for at least 48 hours. Another way that I try to keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. Crazy Jose 2000 is in chat with us. I believe this is a first-time visit, at least in chat, for Crazy Jose 2000. So welcome. Welcome aboard. Flaming Huron is with us as well. He is one of our chat moderators. I do know the Motor City Madman. Yes, the Madman himself will not be joining us as our other chat moderator because it is his Wednesday game night. So a big hello to the Madman, who we know will end up watching this later on. All right, got a lot of news tonight. We're going to dive into a very cool looking 5th edition adventure. I am going to talk a little bit about the big D&D news that kind of broke over the weekend, and there's a lot of head scratching and hand wringing about it, and I am going to talk about what I think is going on. But first, do want to point out that the Gaming Gang Dispatch is brought to you by RockCon 2021. That's right. It is taking place in Rockford, Illinois on October 22nd through the 24th. They are our sponsors, and let's take a quick peek at a short video to learn more about RockCon.
RockCon is back the weekend of October 22nd to the 24th in Rockford, Illinois. Come out for a great weekend of gaming, including historical, fantasy, and sci-fi miniatures, role-playing, war games, and a wide variety of games for the whole family. Buy and sell at the silent auction on Saturday. Vendors from around the region will be available for your shopping pleasure. Don't miss out on all the fun. Visit rock-con.com for details.
That's right. There's wargaming, miniatures gaming, board games, role-playing games, and more at RockCon. I will actually be there as well. That's right. I have been invited to swing on out to Rockford, which isn't too far. It's about an hour and a half from where I live. So I picked up a room for a couple of nights, and we're going to go out there because you know what? It kind of gives me a vibe of the old, like I've talked about it before. We used to have these like game weekends at various different like community centers and things like that in the Chicago area, and this kind of reminds me of it. Although I'm sure it's bigger than those were, because those didn't have more than maybe 200 people tops. But I would take a guess. It looks like maybe they got about 500 people at this, so it should be pretty cool. So do want to mention that Kabuki Kid, non-game related, was asking who has seen the trailer for Sandman coming to Netflix. I have. It looks really good. It looks really good. I read Sandman from Vertigo, which was DC Comics, back in the day. That is what made me a Neil Gaiman fan, was the Sandman comics. And I got on board relatively early. I think the first issue I picked up of Sandman was like 11, something like that. And it does look really, really good. But on a flip side of that, I got to say, what I've seen for the Cowboy Bebop adaptation does not look very good. I'm like, I don't know about this. And I saw the trailer for Wheel of Time. That looks god awful. It looks like some of the cheapest, crappiest special effects I have seen in a long time from a, from a major streamer. Really, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, but at least Sandman looks good. I should also point out, if you are a fan of Sandman or Neil Gaiman, or if you would like to experience Sandman, Audible has an excellent 2 releases so far of Sandman, and it's kind of like a full cast, things like that. It's not necessarily like graphic audio would be, but really, really good. Really, really dig it. In fact, I think the second I think that's called the second act, just recently came out. And somebody had sent it along to me. Very, very cool. Really enjoying it. Kabuki Kid says, yes, season 2 just released on Audible. There you go. There you have it. All right. I have got quite a bit of news tonight. As I mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about the D&D announcement that was made this weekend and tell you what October is going to bring for the gaming gang, because there's going to be some changes. Oh, and the last thing I do want to mention is, so I didn't have a show on Monday because I was having oral surgery, and I haven't really discussed what's going on. I've talked about how I keep going back and forth downtown Chicago and things like that. Having implants done down here. So so those teeth are gone now. Not all of them, just a few of them. And I have like a temporary bridge in there because they have to take like 2 months to let everything heal. I was kind of surprised because usually they put the implants in then and there, I thought, but they want to do a little bit of a bone graft. So they're going to. So anyway, so that's what's going on. That's why you may notice my voice is a little bit different. I am still getting used to talking with this thing in my mouth. Hey, but at least they look better. They will look a whole lot better sometime around Christmas-ish. So Kabuki Kid says they're heading off to the dentist to get some fillings done. Yeah, I've got other stuff that's got to be taken care of, and it is what it is. But luckily, I'm actually going to the University of Chicago, or I should say University of Illinois at Chicago's dental school. And everything that I've had done, they're already licensed dentists who are doing it. So it's not like I'm having like complete newbies doing the work or anything like that. All right, let's jump on into the news, because arriving next month from Redshift Games is Unicorn Stew. And here's what's cooking. The king is hungry. Problem is, he's not sure what he wants. In fact, he's never sure what he wants. The best he can ever do is let the local chefs know that today he's feeling kind of gourmet and ogreish, or something quick and dragony. Whether you're serving up a Pegasus pot pie, fairy kebabs, or a bowl of steaming mermaid chowder, match closest to what the king wants, or at least sabotage the other chefs, and be named the realm's top chef. Each round, a king's menu card is revealed, detailing what he is in the mood for. Each player selects an order card from their hand, hoping it matches closer than the other players. All order cards are revealed simultaneously, and the winner claims the menu card. Doubles always cancel, and Unicorn Stew will usually win. But watch out for sabotage cards from other chefs. Plan 3 menu cards of the same ingredient. Plan? What do you mean, plan? I don't know. It says clan 3 menu cards of the same ingredient, or 5 of the same fighting option to win. I don't know. I have no idea what that meant. Unicorn Stew is for 3 to 6 players, ages 8 and up. Plays in around 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of either $11.99, which is what I've seen on the Redshift Games website, or $14.99, which is what I have seen from distributors. So it's one of the two. Or maybe you can actually get the game for $3 less if you order it from Redshift Games, and pay $3 more if you go to your friendly local game store. That is a possibility. All right, so I like the art style to this. This looks kind of fun. This could be, kind of humorous game to play, to get a game night rocking, or kind of wind one down. So This looks kind of interesting. It obviously is very quick. In fact, I'm sharing the 2 pages of rules right now. This is all the rules to the game that you're seeing right here. But it's got a small price point as well. So if it sounds kind of interesting, give it a peek. Moving right along, if you have seen my Gen Con interview with Floodgate Games, then you already know about this next release. It is Vivid Memories. It is arriving this fall. Here's the latest. Every stick is a sword. Every bike is a steed. Every memory is a possibility. In Vivid Memories, you'll take turns collecting fragments of childhood memories, weaving a tapestry of colored threads in your mind. Throughout your journey, you'll store important moments in your memory bank, gaining new abilities to help you score. Cleverly create connections and earn rewards for completing core memories, matching the imagination behind each moment and working toward your lifelong aspirations for victory. During the game, players take turns collecting fragments of memories from moment tiles, placing them in their brain board to weave a tapestry of colored threads. Using abilities at the end of each round to cleverly create connections, players are rewarded for how they store memory fragments while working toward completing core memories, which give repeated benefits each round. Through their journey, players store important moments in their memory bank, gaining new abilities and new opportunities to score, all while working to collect fragments and moments that match what they aspire to be. Vivid Moments is for 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, plays in about 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $49.95 when it hits stores, I believe, in late October. I actually have a review copy of Vivid Memories, which I received from the fine folks over at Floodgate Games. We are going to be taking a first look at that very, very soon. So this looks kind of interesting. Once again, Floodgate Games is very well known for Sagrada and Sagrada. Isn't that Sagrada? Yeah, English is like a second language to me. So anything else from any other language is complete, gibberish coming out of my mouth. But once again, this looks like another kind of pattern creating game. And I got to say, the artwork looks pretty cool on these memory cards. So stay tuned. We will actually be taking a look at Vivid Memories next week. All right, moving right along, let's talk some role-playing game news, because right now you can currently score big savings with a bundle of holding, which is featuring Mutant Crawl Classics from Goodman Games. Here's the skinny on this deal. Adventurer! This all-new Mutant Crawl Classics bundle presents PDFs of the post-apocalyptic tabletop role-playing game of technology and triumph in a devastated future. Mutant Crawl Classics from Goodman Games. Whether you're a mutant, a seeker, a robot killer, or a stoic shaman guarding forgotten ancient sciences, there are treasures to be won in the taboo lands and ruins of the ancients. Based on Goodman's Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game, Mutant Crawl Classics is a standalone game in the tradition of Gamma World and Metamorphosis Alpha. Time to activate your artifact and go adventuring like it's 1978. For just $9.95, you get all 3 titles in the starter collection, which carries retail value at $38 as DRM-free PDFs, which include the 293-page Mutant Crawl Classics core rulebook, plus the MCC Judges screen, and the introductory MCC adventure Hive of the Overmind. If you pay more than the threshold price of $21.49, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 7 more titles worth an additional $49, including the supplement The Data Orb of Metakind, published as MCC Adventure number 8, and 6 complete adventures for character levels 0 through 5. Seeking the Post-Humans, a level 0 funnel campaign starter, a fallen star for all for level 1 characters, incursion of the ultra dimension, which is for level 2s, the evil of the ancients for level 3s, blessings of the vile brotherhood, you guessed it, it is for levels 4, and finally the apocalypse arc, which is for level 5 characters. These savings are going to run through October 11th. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to the charity designated by Goodman Games publisher Joseph Goodman, the San Francisco Marine Food Bank. There you go. Very nice. I reviewed the core book for Mutant Crawl Classics. I liked it, but the issue I had with it was it really felt trimmed down from all the goodness that's in the Dungeon Crawl Classics book. And it's got a different author. So I thought it was fine. There's some parts of it that I think are pretty good. And then there's some parts that just seem to be missing. And it's kind of funny because I almost look at Mutant Crawl Classics as a supplement. I know it says it's standalone and it's 293 pages. I sort of look at it as a supplement to Dungeon Crawl Classics. But there's good stuff in there. And if you follow the gaming gang, you know I enjoy Dungeon Crawl Classics. All right, moving right along. Now available in PDF for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is the Feywild Companion, which is from Splinterverse Media. Here's the deets. Everything you need to go Feywild. The beauty and danger of the Feywild is yours to explore with this 150-page treasury of player and dungeon master content. Inside, you'll find hours of Feywild and Fey-inspired fun, including 2 lineages and a race, 13 subclasses, 1 for each class, including lore tables, 2 backgrounds, 13 spells, 4 feats, 4 familiars, 16 magic items ranging from common to legendary. Each one is illustrated. 16 flowers of the Feywild that double as a new consumable item or items. 50 trinkets, 50 wild effects, 30 monsters from challenge rating 0 to 25. 17 NPCs, including an arch-fey villain. 2 complete adventures for levels 1 to 8. 6 encounters for levels 1 to 11. 56 adventure hooks. 3 virtual tabletop maps, including grid and no grid, and day and night, for a total of 24 variations, as well as 79 virtual tabletop tokens. Plus, there's a brand new domain of delight for the Feywild with a map, history, archfey, adventure hooks, and more. Optional rules to accurately increase or decrease monster size. Optional rules for handling Fey crossings and cold iron. This PDF is hyperlinked and bookmarked for ease of navigation. There is also a printer-friendly version included. There's a lot. Whether you want to expand the options provided by The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which I recently reviewed and said is my favorite 5th edition adventure to this point, or you can simply make this part of your own way into the Fey realm. Fey Companion has everything you need. Well, I thought it was called Fey Wild Companion. It is called Fey Wild Companion. I don't know why they just called it the Fey Companion. You know, they got a little worked up with all that goodness that's in it. This 150-page PDF is available over at DM's Guild for $14.99. Fine folks over at Splinterverse Media were kind enough. They sent along a review PDF, which I have forwarded on to Sammy. So definitely stay tuned for her review. So Nicholas, jumping back to the last bundle news piece about Mutant Crawl Classics, points out they believe that Dungeon Crawl Classics is greater than Mutant Crawl Classics. I agree. I completely agree. Not that I think Mutant Crawl Classics is bad. I think it's okay. It's just, to me, I think Dungeon Crawl Classics is one of my favorites OSR. It's not really OSR either. New SR, maybe we'll call it. Sort of games. All right. Talking about things that are sort of OSR, my final news piece. There is a new index card role playing game, Master Edition, out in PDF. You can pre order the hardcover right now. Here's the dope indie hit index card RPG and its much anticipated new Master Edition has slowly built a die-hard following of do it yourself RPG creators and players over the past 5 years. Until now, it has been found in 3 hard copy books and numerous PDFs published by its creator, RUNEHAMMER Games, via DriveThruRPG. This newest edition, the Master Edition, combines ICRPG's numerous worlds, streamlined D20 rules, and critically acclaimed GM know-how, all in one high-quality hardback, all revised and updated with its latest playtest data gathered from players all over the world. For the first time, this edition will be available to fans across the world through their friendly local gaming stores. This is a high-quality stone hardcover, 400 pages of straight-to-table D20-based tools, monsters, equipment, and tidbits to hack into any system or style. 5 complete worlds: fantasy, sci-fi, Weird West, Ice Age, and superheroes. A massive collection of D100 loot tables, monster creation tables, and more. A critically acclaimed nuts and bolts GM section that transcends systems. It includes 4 years of print cut fold miniatures in one enormous PDF. All the weird style you expect from RUNEHAMMER is in a fast-to-table format. Also, check out runehammer.online for a huge and free collection of virtual tabletop tokens and tidbits from over the years. For those new to Index Card RPG or its author, Hankarin Fernali, I'm sure I mispronounced that, the game is more than a system, more than a feeling. It's more than a system, but a way of thinking. The humble index card serves as an avatar for simplified thinking, do it yourself with confidence and transparency, and letting the fun flow without rules overhead. ICRPG works on every page in every system to reinforce this way of thinking. For many, this is crystallized most directly in the book's GM section, which has been critically acclaimed as a must-read for years. The do-it-yourself, don't sweat it mindset extends the character building to rolling dice all the way down to where folks sit at the table. Its approach is simple, driven by loot and consolidated stats, but filled with the kind of headroom a homebrew table thrives on. You can pre-order the 400-page hardcover from Modiphius Entertainment for $46, while the PDF is available right now through DriveThruRPG for $18.50. Expected shipping on the hardcover is going to be this December. That is what Modiphius Entertainment is indicating their game plan is right now. Very cool. I have not seen this Master Edition. I would hope, fingers crossed, but I don't know because it's not really, it's being published by Modiphius, but this is a RUNEHAMMER Games title. I don't know if Modiphius Entertainment would send along a review copy of the hardcover book. But I have seen some of the index card RPG stuff over the years, and I gotta say, it's good. I like it. Never had an opportunity to review it because I've never actually seen like a whole book. I haven't. I've only seen bits and pieces, but I have thought they look very, very cool. So there is that. 245 Trioxin has joined us in chat. Good to see you, 245. All right, that is it for the news tonight. I see Nicholas is asking the 6e D&D evolution in 2024. Isn't that your final news piece? No, it's not, but I am going to talk about it. I am going to discuss those developments. And the reason why it's not a news piece, and I did post a news piece on the Gaming Gang website. It's kind of weird because we really don't know anything. We really don't. There was not a whole lot revealed this weekend during the D&D Celebration 2021, the final stream. There were some things that were dropped, mentioned, but for the most part, there is no concrete info about what's going on, which has led to a lot of outlets to jump out there and say 2024 is going to see the 6th edition of Dungeons and Dragons to mark the 50th anniversary of D&D. Well, okay, so some of the outlets have not mentioned that that makes the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, but they have been saying that it will be a 6th edition. So this is what was, in a nutshell, this is what was discussed during the Future of Dungeons and Dragons stream on, I think it was Sunday, as Leonardo MML is joining us in chat. Welcome aboard. I believe this is Leonardo's first visit with us. Kick back, relax, enjoy. So, Kabuki Kid is chiming in as well, kind of with my thought process. She's got a, you're ruining it for me, Double K. What's going on? You're jumping the gun. I'm teasing. Hey, this is my first sip. I went through the entire news without actually taking a sip. Kind of weird. Hey, Nick Level Max is with us in chat as well. I may have missed Nick popping in. Hey, I always try to say hello to everybody who takes time out. Kevin R. Smith is with us as well. So, got a good chat going, everybody. All right, so in a nutshell, basically, it was mentioned that in 2024 there is going to be a big change to D&D. There is going to be. They were kind of making it out like it's going to be new core books, but one of the things that they mentioned was that they will be fully compatible with 5th edition. Okay, well, we can discuss compatibility because I will discuss that in a minute. So they said that, and then they said that there would be a major digital aspect, or words to that effect, of Dungeons and Dragons as well. So, something else they also mentioned was that they were going to incorporate a lot of feedback that they've received from players over the years, as well as in the future. And that there has been a team working on this since earlier this year. So that was the first mention of that. So I had somebody arguing with me on Twitter saying, how dare you say there's going to be a 6th edition of D&D that's harmful to the hobby. And I was like, at no point in the article I posted do I state that Wizards of the Coast has said there's going to be a 6th edition of D&D in 2024. I did not say that. I love how people tell me what I've written. They tell me what I've said, and they are absolutely incorrect. Man, that is like one of my pet peeves. And I got to be honest, I see a lot more of it nowadays than I did 5 or 10 years ago. Oh, well, you said. No, I didn't. I did not say that. All right. So anyway, so that is basically kind of the breakdown in a nutshell. Save you, 55 minutes of watching the stream. So I gave you the, high level outlook. So this is what I think. And I am seeing some comments popping in here. Is it possible that we're going to see a Dungeons and Dragons 5.5? It is possible. It is possible that you're going to see a 5.5, just like Wizards did with D&D 3 to 3.5, which was what, 2000? Is that 2004? I don't. Got to be honest, I didn't really follow Dungeons and Dragons at that point in time. I say it time and time again. I have run Call of Cthulhu for over 40 years. That has been the game that I'm always picking up releases for. But I have followed, D&D to a certain extent. And of course, 5th edition, I've got everything for. So is it possible that it's a 5.5? Yes. I think that is a very real possibility. But so Flaming Heron says, it's like they never read your article. It's not a long article either. And I quote the executive producer for Dungeons and Dragons, what he said. No, you said this. Tell you what I did say. I said, this is what I think. I honestly think it'll be a 6th edition. I really do. And I'll tell you why. For one, and I know a lot of people don't realize this, and I've mentioned this before, you do not have a huge team working full-time on Dungeons and Dragons for Wizards of the Coast. Most people who work on D&D are freelancers. All in all, I think they usually run between about 8 and 12 people full-time on D&D, usually skewing towards the 8 as opposed to the 12. But they use a lot of freelancers. If you were just going to brush up mechanically the game, would you start a team working on it 2.5 years before it's going to come out? More than 2.5 years? Nearly 3 years? Maybe? No, I don't see that. You would have a team working on a new edition of a game that far in advance, yes. But if you were just looking at doing, hey, we got some new core books and it's going to be, we're going to tweak this and tweak that. No, you wouldn't start doing that 3 years in advance. You'd maybe starting working on it 1.5 years in advance, and probably a year before you wanted to go to publication, you would probably do some open public play testing. So just like Wizards has done in the past, like Paizo did for Pathfinder 2.0. So that's one of the things that I think leads me to believe this is going to be a 6th edition. The other thing that leads me to believe that it's going to be a 6th edition is 2024 will mark the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast want to make a big splash. They want to make this a super huge deal. A 5.5 D&D is not going to do it. Just won't. Won't do it. So that's why I think it's a full-fledged 6th edition. So there is some discussion of the rules update set that's coming out. The gift set. I think it comes out in December. I don't think it comes out in January. 245 Triaxon saying it's in January. Yeah, so it's off the top of my head, I think isn't it Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Tasha's Cauldron of whatever. See, I have so many role-playing games that I tackle, and people get mad and was like, you don't know who Natasha is, and blah. It's like, sorry. Like, you know what? If this was a D&D channel and I ran a D&D website, yeah, I would think I would be expected to know all the ins and outs of the setting. But seeing that I cover all different role-playing games, sorry. So Leonardo says, makes sense. So anyway, yeah, so they've been very vague what's in that 3rd book. And I'm not sure. There you go. Yeah. Morton Kanan presents Monsters of the Multiverse. Thank you, Kevin. That's what it is. Flaming Heron says, Jeff, you're not up on your D&D lore. How dare you not know? So Nicholas is jumping into the next thing I was going to talk about is the digital teams that they've hired. And that is what he's saying right now is exactly what I think. I think that also in 2024, with a new edition, is going to come a dedicated virtual tabletop for Dungeons and Dragons, and they are going to cut out the middlemen. They're going to cut out the Roll20s, the Fantasy Grounds, the Foundries. Maybe. So the reason why, and as Nicholas points out, Hasbro wants that money. Yeah, Hasbro likes their money. Hasbro also doesn't really lose too much sleep over Wizards of the Coast. Talked about this time and time again. It is very tiny percentage of their profits on a yearly basis. It's like 1.5%. They're happy when it does well, but it's not exactly their bread and butter that they're overly concerned with. But I do think we are going to see a dedicated virtual tabletop for Dungeons and Dragons they're going to throw the kitchen sink at it so that, like, if you're on Roll20, you'll be like, oh, forget it. One of the issues that they've got, at least I believe, once again, this is all just opinion, right? Don't freak out. Somebody is going to comment going, Jeff, you're insane. How dare you? Wizards of the Coast never said that. Yes, I know they didn't. I'm just sharing. I'm just, spitballing. But I think they're gonna try to put together a virtual tabletop that blows everything else away, so that if you play D&D, there's only going to be one place you're going to want to go. And I was going to say, I think part of the problem that they've got is that a lot of people really don't understand what is D&D Beyond. Is it a virtual tabletop? Is it like, do I just get my books from there in a digital format? Do I store character sheets on it? So I don't think immediately we would see any sort of dropping of Roll20 and things like that. Somebody just mentioned, it zipped by pretty quick, that why doesn't Wizards just buy Roll20? They've got a pretty good partnership. They got a pretty good relationship with Roll20, but I think the powers that be at Hasbro are more along the lines of, well, Roll20 is kind of basic. We want something bigger, flashier. I've messed around with it a little bit. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. I actually, out of the virtual tabletops that I have not played around too much with, I like Foundry. I think Foundry is very, very cool. So, all right. So Nick says, makes you wonder why leads at D&D Beyond jumped ship at the same time. Leonardo says, I am not dropping Fantasy Grounds. Fantasy Grounds is pretty good. I've got a subscription to that, a lifetime license for that. I thought that's pretty good. Like I said, I think Foundry is the best I've seen. They're all lacking something. For one, they're lacking my understanding of how to operate them properly. So that's what I think. So there you have it. I think 2024 is going to bring us a brand new edition of Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think they're going to go crazy. There was mention that these books will be compatible with things that already been released for 5e, at least official releases through Wizards of the Coast. That leaves a big ball of wax open because, I could conceivably tell you that Advanced Dungeons and Dragons modules from back in the 80s are compatible with 5th edition because they are, if I give you a conversion chart, right? It makes it compatible. I don't think they would go that crazy. But I think what we'll see is, I think we will see a little more crunch. A little more crunch. Because I think one of the complaints that I hear, everybody complains about everything. But one of the legitimate, I think, issues that that some players have with 5th edition is that it's all too samey. Everything you do is, you're always just, yeah, I'm rolling the same dice. And that there isn't enough character customization, that some characters can be pretty close to the same. Whereas Pathfinder 2nd edition is absolutely not the case there. You're overwhelmed with options. All right. So, Nicholas says they're already retconning Volos and Mordenkainen's with the new book. Flaming Heron says, is the system for the casuals, though, or the more hardcore players? I think they're going to still stick with it, not being too crazy crunch-wise, so that it is a great jumping on point. Plus, once again, and we're gonna wrap this up because I do want to get into talking about what's coming in October, as well as jump into the into Scarlet Citadel, because I am really looking forward to checking this book out, and I'll tell you why when we get to it. But I was just about to say that because it's going to be the 50th anniversary, I think they're really going to try to push the whole, you've heard about Dungeons and Dragons for 50 years and you've never had an opportunity to try it. Now this is your opportunity. Jump in, check out our game, that kind of stuff. I'm sure that's not exactly how they're going to present it, because nobody would buy it then. But Kevin says they wonder if it's going to be kind of a modular thing that they were talking about in the playtest days. Maybe have a more basic version like current 5e, add optional crunch for advanced players. Oh my God. No, please no. Well, we're going to do basic and we're going to do advanced. That's what we're going to do. But then what we're going to do with basic is we're going to have like expert and master and legendary, and it's going to be like, okay, well, so what's the point of the advanced one? I don't know. All right. Anyway, so like I said, to wrap up, I think we're going to see a 6th edition of D&D. I could be absolutely wrong. Come on. I don't even think they know exactly what they want to do just yet. And I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't provide more details. And they said, well, next year there will be more announced. So I think that, and then I also think that, and I'm pretty confident with this, the digital aspect will be a full-fledged, dedicated virtual tabletop for D&D. Kevin says they just know they want to do something for the 50th anniversary. Yes, and they want to do something big. They really do want to do something big. All right, so let's move along. I want to talk about October, right? This is my last show for September. So October is going to bring some changes. First of all, I'm feeling good. Everything seems to be going okay. Getting used to this weird bridge thing, the temporary bridge thing. So I'm going to do live streams of the Gaming Gang Dispatch Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. So we're going to go 3 days a week. I know we're not back to the 4 days a week. I don't know if I'll ever go back to the 4 days a week. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can plan ahead starting next week. 3 live streams every week. In October, I will also, it's going to be my October Spooktacular. So you are going to have brand new videos each and every day of October. Now, that might mean that it's a live stream, but you will have a brand new video every day and every night. Yes, the old-time radio tales return. So each night in October, visit the website. I will have a spooky old-time radio show, which I will probably include some CBS radio mystery theater, which was late 70s, early 80s. Really not, old-time radio, but it's close. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of these shows are scary. No joke. There's one from Quiet Please, got to be the scariest thing I have ever heard. And it's called The Thing on the Formal Board. And it's from like 1932. And it is super creepy at the end. I will save that probably till later on in October. So, yes, so brand new videos each and every day of October or night of October. You will have spooky old time radio shows to enjoy and 3 episodes of The Dispatch each week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So there's that. So Nicholas goes, woot! Carl has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Carl. Welcome aboard. Right, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who have been like, oh, for crying out loud, man, get on with Scarlet Citadel, dude. And thus we shall. Scarlet Citadel is for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. It's from Kobold Press. It's written by Steve Winter with assists from Wolfgang Bauer, Scott Gable, and Victoria Jackzo, with artwork provided by David Ogden Nash, John Pintar, Miguel Rigodon Harkness. I know I'm mispronouncing people's names. I apologize. I always do, you know. Marcel Mercado, William O'Brien, Sam Perrin, Florian Stiltz, Brian Simi, and Ejil Thompson. This 240-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $39.95. You can score the PDF right now over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf site. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters do add up and help keep the website around. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Scarlet Citadel, which I bumped during the news, so it wasn't lined up anymore. I don't know. So do want to also mention that I am going to tell you how you can get in the running to win Scarlet Citadel, as well as the Creature Codex from Kobold Press in PDF. So I have a copy of each together that I am going to give away to one lucky winner, and I will tell you how to get into the running in just a few moments. All right, let's take a look at the back. And I have not cracked this open. I have really been looking forward to checking this out, because I have been reading the Midgard World Book. So this is going to be my first Kobold Press review. It's on the horizon. Should be maybe later this week, early next week. And I mean, it's like 460 pages. But I will be reviewing that. And I thought that was a good place to start, because that's kind of like the home world for the Kobold Press adventures and other setting books as well. So it looks like, doesn't this look like the Conan the Barbarian font? It's the Dino De Laurentiis font. Do you dare descend into the sorcerous gloom? Once a fortress where wizards hone their eldritch craft, the Scarlet Citadel now holds a sinister reputation, and for good reason. The dungeon's well-trod stairs have seen few return from their journeys below. Now malevolent creatures spin shadowy webs, enchant foul magics, and summon forth dark gods. But for those brave enough, ancient treasures and secrets still lie scattered everywhere. Inside the Scarlet Citadel, you'll find a classic-style adventure for 10 levels of play, fully compatible with 5th edition. Evocative combats and magical mysteries brimming with plots and subplots, tons of original traps and new monsters, as well as a complete write-up of the nearby town of Red Tower, where the adventurers can set up a home base. It's an adventure easily paired with the Scarlet Citadel Map Folio, a fold-out set of playable battle maps from Kobold Press, I would assume so if it's the Scarlet Citadel map folio, plus much more. All right, let's hop on in. So, of course, the fine folks over at Kobold Press were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But remember, this is not a review. I have not taken a look at this book. We are going to experience taking a look at it together. Also, I'm not going to sit here and page through each and every page of the book. But if you are a player and you're hoping maybe your dungeon master is going to pick this up to run, I'm going to tell you, you might want to take off. See you next time. See you Monday. Because there's going to be some spoilers. We're going to run across some spoilers in here. Also, I'm going to stay up here, picture in picture, so I'm going to be cutting off a little bit of the left side of the book. So it is Scarlet Citadel, a Dungeon of Secrets. Got our table of contents. Looks like we got some pretty cool artwork. Reading the Midgard World book there, I did run across a section that's got some mention of this Scarlet Citadel as well, but not a ton of detail. I also have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, but I have a feeling that this is going to have kind of an old school vibe to it. Because for one, Steve Winter wrote adventures for D&D back in the day, back when it was AD&D. Maybe it was like second edition. But I mean, we're talking, he goes back quite a ways with Dungeons and Dragons. So, and during my interview with Wolfgang Bauer at Gen Con, we talked a little bit about Scarlet Citadel and how it is a dungeon. And Kobold Press has not done enough dungeon adventures. So, some discussion here. Sound, light, traps, and secret doors. Talking about character levels and advancements. One of the interesting aspects of Kobold Press and their Midgard setting is they like to propose this optional rule for time. And I think it's pretty cool where it's sort of like between your sessions, time passes so that, your characters don't go from first level to 15th level in like a year of game time. So we're getting some background here. So we get Red Tower. So this is no doubt info about the town. I'm going to start skipping pages here. So we've got a breakdown of the town. So, of course, this is going to give players an opportunity to have a home base. Pretty nice artwork. That's one thing that I have noticed about Kobold Press. Their artwork is pretty good. At least what I've seen so far in the Midgard World book and taking a peek through this. So we have the top level of the Citadel. It was kind of funny because during my interview with Wolfgang Bauer, I couldn't remember who wrote the Sunless Citadel for D&D. And I'd asked, was that Steve Winter? And he said, no. I was like, oh. I said, well, it's that whole Citadel thing. So we have the ruins above. We have the dungeon and crypts. So I'm taking a look. I believe this is probably, these sections here are read aloud. And thankfully, it doesn't look like they just drone on and on and on, because we've talked about that in the past as well. Keep going on with read aloud. Players start tuning out. So we've got a catacombs, a sepulcher. Here we go. Here's a map. Well, yeah, I bet you this is John Pinter, because that kind of looks like one of his maps. So I wouldn't be surprised if John did the maps for this adventure. As you can see, there is artwork throughout, but we're not being overwhelmed with artwork. So in this so far, it looks like we've got a lot of gameable material as well. So there's an arcane scriptorium. So we got Trollkin Encounters. Thor's Shrine. Something else with this Midgard setting is that I have noticed is religion is really a key point to the setting. And there is, I'll get more into this when I do my review of the World Book, but there's a real kind of like Central and Eastern European vibe to the proceeding. Is it's not your typical Western Europe high fantasy setting. In fact, it's a relatively dark fantasy setting, not grim dark, but like I said, I'll get into that a bit more. But I really like how religion is incorporated into it because most fantasy role playing games, yeah, you got clerics and there's different gods they worship, and yeah, maybe there's kind of a book that's going to share almost like a bestiary, right? A deities book, which gives you like stat breakdowns, but they never really delve too much into how people worship and things like that. RuneQuest, totally different. That is probably the most detailed religious uh, system that I am familiar with in any role playing game setting. But that's something I really have liked checking out with Midgard. Another map here. A clockwork tomb. Okay. Like I said, I'm skipping pages as we zip on through. Talking about factions, I really do hope that we have some good faction play in this adventure as well. That to me is a huge um, aspect of kind of like old school ish adventures. Like I said, this is supposedly, I had heard through the grapevine, a bit old school, even though it's 5th edition. It's got an old school vibe to it, which I hope it does. But one of the aspects that I always love is faction play. So, and that goes without saying. That's pretty much almost any role playing game, regardless of setting. It's always good to have vying factions who all want something. Sometimes the player characters can manipulate that. Sometimes the player characters will get taken advantage by that. All right, zipping along. All right, so we got level 5, the Black River. Okay, well, looks like we got some undead. Maybe we've got a necromancer. I don't know. It's pretty nice so far. Looks very, very cool. I do notice that we have some bolding here as well to kind of try to catch the dungeon master's eye. That is something else that's very important with adventures. It's really overlooked a lot is usability at the table. And we've talked about this time and time again, that even some really cool adventures, the PDFs or the books themselves are the layout is just not really designed for usability at the table. But I can tell you that, and I'm one of these people, I always read through an entire adventure twice before I run it. And then I always have a kind of an idea at how far the player characters are probably going to get that session. So I really do a deep dive into that. I usually err by memorizing way too much stuff. But I can see here, I mean, we're not looking at page after page after page about one particular area. We've got a few paragraphs. We've got a treasure section here. Looks like if there's combat, that there's an aftermath portion as well. So we got map again. So Looks like we've got a 2-section map. It's kind of showing us how it's laid out. Ooh, level 6, the Howling Halls. Okay. Ah, Pinky is down here for a visit. Once again, with this mic, we really don't pick her up too much unless she's like right by me. So, but she will throw me off with her meow. Yes, yes. Sometimes she comes down here because she thinks I'm talking to her. Pinky's the cat, if you have not, one of the cats here. It's actually my dad's cat. I have my cat. So, who is much quieter than Pinky. So, all right. So we got our monsters, NPCs, and magic. And of course, as I mentioned, you can get in the running to win Scarlet Citadel as well as the Creature Codex, both for 5th edition in PDF from Kobold Press. And I'm going to tell you how you can do that right now. Super easy. It's how I usually do most of my contests. Number 1, you got to be a subscriber to the channel. Number 2, you got to like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Number 3, leave a comment about the video in the comment section and be nice. I do not give things away to people who talk smack to me in the comment section. That's it. That's all you got to do. And you have until October 9th to get those comments in, and then I will have my review of Scarlet Citadel on either the 9th or 10th, and I will announce the winner there. I will pick someone randomly. So you don't have to sit there and be like, oh, well, I got to write a novella as far as the comments. Now, I just pick people at random. And then Wolfgang Bauer will send you a copy of Scarlet Citadel as well as Creature Codex, which, funny enough, I guess there's some monsters in here that are from the Creature Codex. I don't even have the Creature Codex. I have Creature Codex too. No, I'm sorry. I have Tomb of Beasts. I got a bunch of really cool stuff from Kobold Press. I'll have to take a peek. Maybe I don't think I have the Creature Codex. All right. So now we got some magic items. Cool. We got illustrations of those. Not everyone, but we got a few. That's cool. We've got new deep magic spells. It says these spells from deep magic are used by various villains and creatures in the Scarlet Citadel. So we've got quite a few of those. And we've got the Witch's Walk Bazaars. Bazaar is a consumable magic item similar to a potion. You must swallow it whole to gain its effect. So it looks like we've got a few different ones of those. We've got some player handouts as well. And we're going to wrap up with some advertising for other Kobold Press releases. You're going to see a good amount of Kobold Press stuff in the future here on the Gaming Gang. And then we've got, it's like this is the side view that we saw early on in the book, showing us the different levels, kind of giving us an idea. And then this looks, yeah, there we go. It's a map of the town of Red Tower. Sweet. I always am like, yeah, new adventures for me to check out. Sweet. And then sometimes it turns out like I'm like, oh, geez, I got to finish reading this. I got to get a review out for this. I don't think that's going to be the case with Scarlet Citadel. So once again, be sure to get into the running to win a copy of Scarlet Citadel and the Creature Codex in PDF from Kobold Press. All right. Once again, this 240-page hardcover does carry an MSRP of $39.95. You can score the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Of course, October 9th or 10th, I will have a review of Scarlet Citadel, and I will reveal who gets to win the 2 PDFs. Sweet. All right. Also, should point out, here, I'll show this once again. This is the Midgard World Book for 5th edition. This actually came out, this edition came out this year. And as you can see, this is a big book. So I had to take the train into Chicago, so I brought this with. And I actually knocked out about 150 pages during that trip. So yeah, so I got a good chunk. I'm further than that in it, but I got a good chunk of that finished up on the train ride in and back to Chicago. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, now Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Power Behind the Throne, from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. This is Chapter 3 of the Enemy Within Director's Cut. Stay tuned. I think this will be my first review video for October. So this might roll out on Friday. So just so you know. All right. Also, keep in mind, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Those of you who watch live, thank you very much. Always appreciate that. Those of you hanging out in chat, thanks for keeping me company. Otherwise, I'd just be babbling on into the ether like a lunatic. Not to say I'm not a lunatic anyway, but still, at least there's people in chat. But of course, I know a lot of people out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. And I appreciate them taking time out to watch as well, even if they're watching on, I don't know, Betamax. I will see you next month. Of course, next Monday. So everybody out there, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great rest of the week as well as weekend. Like I said, I will see you once again on Monday. And of course, until then, by all means, here's hoping that each and every one of you out there gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your very own gang. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel? Or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch? Or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel? And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.